guys, and welcome back to the third part of our Winter Snow Saga podcast. This is Horsin Around. Now that we talked about hoof control, sounds like pest control. Not at all what it is. I'm very sorry. Hoof patrol, obviously. I want to move on to something that is Lisa's specialty.
Yes.
Which is the magical horses and the magical pets.
Finally.
Which are... Give us the deets.
If you remember a couple of hours ago.
Yes.
Kidding.
It was a dark and stormy
there was
night.
There was the team super magical and the team not magical at all. More realism. But kind of magical in a way. Because snow is involved. So we, for the first time on Jorvik, we will, drum roll, get a unicorn! Woo! And this has been amazing to work on. We were thinking, how can we make this a unicorn from Jorvik? And I was experimenting with emissive shaders. I think it's a shader in the ground, but then I have to work on an emissive texture to make things glow.
Is that what emissive means?
Emissive in our game means that when the game is lit up, everything is like in the light. But once you enter nighttime in the game, everything gets unlit. But the things that are masked out in emissive shader, they will actually glow up. So they will not get dark.
So
that
like,
it means
it's like opposite.
Kind of fake glow solution
Yeah.
for our game.
Ah.
And it's we have used it on previous magical horses, like the autumn magical horses.
Petra, right? The one because they have some glowy stuff on their butt.
Maybe, but I was more thinking of the Hoflinger magical ones.
Oh, I don't remember
what are they called?
The little fairy inspired
the
ones.
The fairy inspired ones, exactly.
That I don't remember. I don't recall the names of them at this moment. But I know which ones you mean. And you guys are listening. I'm 100% sure you know which ones we mean.
The ones
you guys
that
are experts.
Alicia worked on.
Yes.
They were super, super nice.
Yeah.
And I got inspired
kind
by
of
them.
like unicorn, a little bit unicorn inspired with the little swirl.
But back then we didn't want to go and make a unicorn.
Yeah.
But then I got to go. I had a talk with Anne, for example, and you said that from a narrative-wise perspective, we can do a unicorn. And that is amazing. From after I've been working here for many years, and to hear those words
finally
was really like tears in my eyes.
The time we've waited to make a unicorn. Even when I started, we were already talking. You know what? Maybe a unicorn could be cool. That was 6.5 years ago.
Yeah. And I know
excited.
that the last magical horse that I worked on, which was the Brinical horse, and I mean, that one was based on the North Swedish, and that was ages ago. That one we wanted to do as a unicorn, but then it turned out to be like this icicle instead. And I know that the players, were disappointed because in the teasers it was only the silhouette. And already back then, like 4 or 3 years ago, I think it was 4 years ago now, you players who thought that we will get a unicorn. And it was a bit nasty done from us.
But it was very good also
it was good, of course.
Because we realized at that point that like, it's definitely like a big definite yes from you guys.
Exactly.
So thank you for being very vocal about that, guys.
Yeah.
That's why we're where we're at today. That was a word. I will not explain further. Keep going, Lisa.
Yeah. No, you're so funny.
It's
you're
just
great.
that I never know what's coming out of my mouth. So
no, but then we thought, which horse could we base off as a unicorn? And first we were thinking about the more cutesy breeds like ponies, but then we thought that it needs to be a regal breed. And which regal breed have we released recently that is like with the new meshes and with the tongue support and everything. And then we realized that the Pasofino has to be a good candidate. Yeah.
It's perfect also because you made it. So then you're like,
you're true, that's
super familiar.
I'm very familiar with the meshes and with the textures already. So that was kind of, it was a good choice. And the same thing went for the magical pet that is like going with the unicorn, which is going to be an owl.
And snow owl.
Yes, a snow owl. Oh well, it's not a snow owl. No, because we have a snow owl from previous years that is like realistic owl
An
in
actual
the
snow
snow,
owl. Snow owl?
time of the year, or in the winter
stopped
time of the
sounding
year.
like a word for me.
Yeah.
That's why I just gave a weird face.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
we
this
have a
one
realistic
this one is more like you can think of Area Borealis
Yeah.
a little bit, and
The
then when
Northern
it
Lights, yeah.
goes, the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it's dark, the feathers will light up and with little magical dots.
It looks
That
so
also
cool.
look coherent with the unicorn, because it will have like magical firelights or glowing bulbs, dots, whatever you
For
call
me,
it.
I feel like it
in the
looks like
legs and the
starlight.
horn. Yeah,
It looks like
starlight.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like they have little stars.
Yeah, that
on
could
them.
be whatever you want it to
Yeah.
be. It is.
It's because it's
Yeah.
magical. I really
Mhm.
urge you guys who are listening to take your unicorn or your magical Icelandic out in the
I
night
haven't
time.
talked about the magical Icelandic yet.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Because they look magical,
Mm.
especially during nighttime.
Yeah,
Really cool during daytime, but like in the nighttime. Mwah.
but that is actually a great segue into the other
The Icelandic.
horse, the Icelandic, exactly.
Yeah.
That one we wanted to go more non-magical with,
Yeah.
and see how do the players react to if they just get a magical horse but in a different kind of take.
Yeah.
Before, it has always been like you have this realistic coat, and like when it comes to genetics and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
realistic in the non-magical coat, and then once it turns magic, it gets very magical with
Yeah.
different colors
Yeah, we
or
only have, like,
sparkles and stuff like that.
We only have like it's
Very
enchanted
fantasy.
rather
Yeah,
than
yeah.
just different.
But for this time around, we wanted to take advantage of the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And so for this horse, then for the magical Icelandic horse, it will be just a normal sooty buckskin in the normal coat.
Very cute normal coat, by the way.
And
Very cute.
I think the player's gonna like it.
I really think so too.
The references are also from one of, I think it was Lotta's riding school horses, and the owner already approved and was like, yeah, this looks
Yay!
like the sooty buckskin that we have in the riding school. So that was great. It's always nice when colleagues give references of horses that they know in real life.
I think
it makes it more-
it gives us a bonding experience, like with
Yeah.
things that we make, because we're like,
Definitely.
like when we make Rooney and we've
Yeah.
made Anki, and like, we're,
Yeah, exactly.
these are our horses.
But then when it turns magic, it actually becomes like covered in snow on the back, on the legs, on the mane and the tail.
And the muzzle!
And then, exactly, the muscle. So I was allowed to put on some unique, like I did with the unicorn, Pasofino, or maybe I shouldn't call it the Pasofino, with the
the
unicorn,
unicorn.
where I added beard
Mhm.
and also horn. I could also add some unique meshes to the Icelandic. And what I did there was that I modeled some whiskers. And these whiskers, they get super frosty and snowy in the magical coat.
It's so cute.
My hope is that it will fit with the feeling of a horse being in a snowstorm, and when you want to get it out from the pasture or in from the pasture, that it greets you with like this super snowy whiskers and snowy back and everything.
I have some background information, or behind the scenes information
Mhm.
about that concept as well.
Yeah.
Because I was on the team who were making outfits for this year. So I was helping out and deciding like what directions do we want to take and blah blah blah. And that's where I don't know if it was already born in your team, but that's where that idea of the snow covered horse was born, because we were like, oh, we want an adventure set, and I was like, I want a snow covered horse for my adventure. And then I just typed to Lotta. I was like, Lotta, I want snow on my horse. Can we make a snow covered horse? She's like, I'll bring it to the team. I was like, we have to make it.
Yeah.
Tap 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 tap. And then we had the concept meeting afterwards with a lot of ideas that
Yeah,
we had for magical horses. And then that one.
I think that's so
I mean,
nice to hear, because actually that idea wasn't brought to, it was my task to come up with the magical horses this year, which I'm super grateful for, because I haven't done magical horses since a Brinicle, like I said. But it's very interesting to see there that so many people in the office can have the same idea.
Yeah.
But that was never brought to me. So actually during the kickoff meeting and everything, I've been spawning own ideas, which then was a snow-covered
Snow-covered
horse.
horse.
So it's
High
so nice.
five.
High five.
Great minds think
think
alike.
alike. That's so cool.
That's also so great, because we made an adventure set that was originally thought, like the concept that we had for that was like, oh, this
Yeah.
player is like going out into the snow, and they're like, they love being out in the snow, and they're like the adventurous kind. They have clothes that are like thick, and there's a little bit of fur on it, and they have like a cowboy hat that will protect them from snow falling, and like So I'm so excited because then the horse and the outfit, they go so well together.
And not to forget, of course, the companion pet for the Icelandic horse is a little snow-covered bunny.
I get the same feeling.
And that
for
one is
the
also
bunny.
super funny in the snow. When it's
Very
making the
fun.
tunnels in the snow, you can't barely see it.
I get the same feeling for that bunny as I get for the gnome. I get this like aggressive cuteness overload where I just want to hold it. It also lights up.
Yeah, exactly. What I did was that I added a emissive shader a little bit to both the snow-covered Icelandic horse, so to the snow, and especially some kind of glowing dots. Because, you know, if there is a clear moon sky in the nighttime and there's a lot of snow in Sweden, and also, of course, other areas in the world, then you can see that the snow really is like shimmering. It's like glitter almost. And I added this in the emissive shader to the Icelandic horse, but also then to the bunny. Because I thought that the texture variation, when it was in unlit mode, it was too dark to be snow. And it had to fit with the rest of the coherent of the terrain. So I added that to the bunny and the horse. Yeah,
it looks so cool. I'm really excited to see what you listeners think about it, because it's to me it feels really new and fresh and like something we haven't really done before on both the concepts, which is really cool.
And I mean, it's also a little bit terrifying as well. Like you say that it's amazing, and I agree, but also a bit terrifying because we have never done anything like this before. How will it be perceived by the players, by you listeners who are playing the game? Yeah. Maybe it's a hit. Maybe we can do it for autumn-themed horses or summer-themed horses in the future.
That would be super. I think that would be super fun. But we'll see what you guys think. The horses have a story. Did you write the story for them?
I worked with another writer on this concept for the unicorn. For me, was always the world has never been a hospitable place for unicorns, right? They're hunted for their horns and all of this. So when I talked to her, that's something that we discussed. And that if there was ever a place that's sanctuary, it would have to be Jorvik.
100%.
And that's what I asked her to think about when she wrote the description. And then for our snow horse, we thought about what his history would be, why he loves the snow so much. And it's funny, we talked about dogs in the snow. I used to have a couple of dogs. One of them, even as he got older, every time it snowed, it was like he was a puppy again. And so I thought about this horse, and that no matter how old he gets, every time it snows, he's going to be just a little happy soul again. And that's what we went with. She looked at some primarily European stories, and maybe this horse was a companion to someone who was out in the snow sometimes.
But where is that companion now? You're gonna make me cry.
You're the companion.
Oh, thank God. I thought there was some sort of
No.
Now he's like
A tradition of going out,
good.
in the snow.
I was like,
in the winter.
It's gonna be Hachiko all over again.
I can't recall the name of the Icelandic horse, winter horse, but I think it's
Cutter.
Cutter, because it's from Icelandic lore, right?
Well, the name is Icelandic, but we looked at Turkish tradition, German tradition. Many European traditions have someone who travels in the winter. It's kind of that winter story.
So then it was born that way.
Yeah, that's how Cutter was born in a story.
What do we call the unicorn?
The Sylvan unicorn.
Yeah.
And that means, from the woods.
That's also very nice because whenever I was updating the textures, I always worked that I update the textures and then I looked them in the game to see and get a feel and see that they look good in the world and with the rest of the NPCs and assets and everything that we have. I was looking in Mistfall. So I was there and in, God, this is embarrassing. What is the place called where all the Jorvik wilds are?
Redwood Ridge or something.
No,
No, the Jorvik wild horses.
Yeah.
Oh, above Mistfall, because I didn't.
It starts
look at
with an M, right?
Is it Wildwoods? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Wildwoods.
I was in Wildwoods, and then I looked both in the summer, but also in the with the winter shader with all the snow, because I wanted to look. I want the horses to fit also when there is no snow in Jorvik, if it's going to happen. if the snow is going to
Yeah.
melt away or not. That's important to think of both cases. But then I was looking in the wild woods, and it looked so magical. So it's nice to hear also that the name comes from the woods. 'Cause that
Perfect.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
Is-
also why the owl was chosen
Oh, yeah,
for
because
this
it's also
unicorn.
from the wood.
From the woods, exactly.
The magic horses are different from the regular horses because you can switch between two kinds of horses. Is that a challenge for us, or like how does that work? Is it harder to implement that than a regular horse? Would you say?
I think I look at Lisa actually on this one. I know there is a different process to bring forward a magical horse versus I don't know if I should say normal horse, but a non-magical horse, a typical horse, is it better? But I'm not sure if we talk about game performance in that sense, if it's sort of is heavier. What do you say?
I think if melee means more like the pipeline, like the workflow, what is different from another when it's like created in the process.
Yeah,
right?
for example.
Yeah, then there are two major things actually.
Okay.
One is that in the Excel sheets where we implement all the textures and all the horse variations and where the different stats and stuff like that, in these Excel sheets you have 2 extra columns for the magical horses, and that is for the magical coat and the non-magical coat. And so these extra 2 columns is for the magical body and the magical hair, which is the main style.
Okay.
So this is different from our other normal horses.
So you only have one.
But then one thing that I actually got as a bug report in last week was that the magical horse, the Sylvan and also the Cutter Icelandic, they weren't showing the magical particles. And I was like, why is this? And then I went in and looked at the file object, like the setup of an older magical horse. And then I saw that some particle effects and some scripts, like Jane talked about earlier, were missing from the horses that I had copied, because I copied from the Pasofino and I copied from the Icelandic horse.
Okay.
But these scripts needs to be there in order for it to be able to get these
switch.
particle effects and switch.
Ah.
So these are the 2 main things that are different from a normal horse and a magical horse in our game.
Yeah, and I do believe
in
they
the
have some
process.
differences in game performance as well. How much memory they take up from the player's computer. And
Probably because they
Yeah.
have more textures
Textures,
assigned
yes.
to them
Yeah.
than a normal horse.
Right, like we talked about with the snow.
Yeah.
Previously.
I think I will sneak out.
Yes. Feel free to sneak away. Jane is going to leave us now. You're not going to hear her voice anymore. And it's because she has to run home to her dog.
Dogs, yes,
Yeah.
totally.
So thank you so,
so
much
that
for
they're not
joining us.
stuck in the snow.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
It was amazing having you. Thank you so much. We're
So
Bye,
nice.
Jane.
Bye, Jane.
I'm still going to harass you two though.
Can I just do a
Yeah.
I'm
Does
feeling-
anyone need to pee or anything?
no?
Okay.
No.
We're going to talk about the Yeti, the fox quest, and the mirrors.
I only know that there are very, very pretty particles and fireworks being worked on.
True that.
And sound effects. Sound effects. But that is that's the only thing we can say about New Year's. Probably some nice sets as well, like New Year clothing sets.
Yeah, there's a
and
Yeah,
pretty
there's,
dress.
Yeah.
there's I was in the team who designed them. So
stuff.
there's going to be a dress,
No.
and then there's going to be a matching pantsuit set. Very glittery this year. That's all we know about that, so that's all you can get about that. In the words of Aunt Trudad. But what you do know about is what's coming with the
I can't say it yet. Get it? Get it?
Wait, I don't get it. I'm joking.
I know you are.
You don't get it yet.
The snow crisis has brought
Why are we laughing?
not only chaos for the citizens, but we don't know what caused it. We don't know what it's attracting.
Is the Revenge of Santa Claus?
Is it thunder, or is it like things roaring?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know, but if I was going to investigate what the heck was going on out in this like Stockholm mess, I heard things or whatever, I would probably want to take my good friend Scott Buttergood.
He's so southern, and I love it so much.
I know, right? So,
Darn tootin'.
darn tootin'. Oh my heck.
Holy heck.
So, that's actually a Utah phrase. Oh my heck.
Oh my heck.
Yeah, it's a non-cuss.
Which is how we roll.
Yes, exactly. It's the Star Stable cuss.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just imagine myself out in my little place where I live that I can't pronounce because it's very Swedish. Älta.
Exactly. You said it really well.
Thank you.
Good job.
You said it correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, yes, I can imagine my little trekking expedition with Scott going around the lake and in the little forest looking for whatever made that horrible sound in the snow. And,
Poop.
yes, of course we're going to look at the poop.
I feel like every time I talk about you, there's poop somehow.
Me?
Last time.
I hate poop.
It was last time. It was the poop from Beatrix.
No, yes, but I didn't write that poop.
No.
Nadia did.
I know.
Yes, you are obsessed with poop.
Me?
Yeah?
You guys are the ones writing the quests.
Oh.
Do you mean something that is shitty written, or do you mean the actual? I'm sitting here like,
No,
wait, what? What are
There's
you talking about?
there's actual poop. And
Well, if you're tracking something, you have to look at the way things have been
pooping.
pooping, the footprints, like
The direction.
the direction, like if it's been breaking branches. It's all a part of tracking animals and monsters. Yes?
Yeah,
You would agree?
definitely.
Well,
I
then you would
understand.
be a very good candidate for going on an adventure with Scott
Maybe
Buttergood.
even the smell.
Yes?
Maybe.
So there's all kinds of stuff that needs to be taken care of on this expedition, and I invite everyone to show up at the Winter Village, see if anybody needs assistance, right? People, rangers, or anything like that. Just check in, find out what needs to be done, and take care of it.
There have been quest lines in Dino Valley where we have seen tracks before, but we've never actually seen what it belongs to. We just have kind of
Rumors and
guessed.
stuff?
We're finally maybe going to track it down. But I have to tell you that when I played the first part, the jump scare,
Yeah.
I was not expecting it at all. I yelled for real.
Did you?
And we got it on camera. Because I was about to make fun of my own butt. I was like, oh, look at my butt. And then it just goes, rah! And I'm like, ah! I got scared for real. I was like, is this a horror game? I thought this was a horse game. What's happening? There are monsters now?
Yeah.
Was it fun writing it?
It was the most fun I've had ever.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that you brought back Scott.
I do too.
Because I haven't done quests with him for a long time.
Well, actually, this is him being developed.
Yeah.
This was my favorite. Hari and I got to work on this together. It was
Yeah.
just the two of us.
Yeah.
And you know how I,
Just the two of us.
yes, reunited, and it felt so good. You know how I love Hari.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
We're the dream team.
I feel a strange kinship because we're both Finnish, and that's it.
Oh, are you now?
Yeah. But I'm not a real Finn. I'm a fake Finn.
Ah, okay.
I'm from Holland, so technically I'm from Swedish speaking
Yeah.
area.
It was the first time that we created something like from just ourselves. It wasn't part of the bigger narrative storyline. We knew we needed to do a new narrative for the Winter Quest. We had to come up with something just, I think the creative director said maybe last year something about, hey, why don't you use this NPC? They didn't last year, so then Hari said, hey, I think, why don't we use this NPC this year? And we just both went, oh, yes, that will be so fun. And then I was like, well, if we use that, we got to use Scott. And then it was our chance to develop Scott.
He also
As a
has the
character.
perfect animation when he's sitting on the ground and kind of, looking side to side and being
Yeah.
like, I'm
And the-
tracking these animals.
Yeah. And he does this perfect, like, hat
Yeah.
flick. And
Yeah.
we have a new ranger in town.
Mm-hmm.
There's an area that was recreated that,
The iceberg.
yeah.
And I was going to ask you about that because I got very excited when we recreated that because we used to have an iceberg
Mm-hmm.
where we sold the seals. Are they going to be...
No.
No. So this is more of an area rather than like the...
Yes, it's just for the quest. And
Okay.
it's, as you would imagine, there's not supposed to be an iceberg in Moorland. I think this is what I mean by Jorvik is seeing the effect of a weather event kind of reflects what the players can see in the world.
Yeah.
That while we're having fun and stuff, there are animals in Moorland that aren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just a subtle nod to taking care of our environment and then also having fun along the way. I love Scott, and I love at one point when he says about himself what his inside really is. You know, he makes an observation about himself that I think...
We love an introspective man.
Yeah. I think is just, you know, the key to him. Like, he's not a buffoon.
It's also because he has a very distinct kind of dialogue, and you can, like, almost hear him. It gives him so much character.
Mm-hmm. I laughed the whole time. But I tend to crack myself up anyway, so...
The best laughs are the ones you have with yourself.
Exactly.
Well, that's it for this week, guys. Remember that this is just one part of our 4-part podcast special, and we will come back next week to talk about other cool stuff happening on Jorvik in this week's Winter Festival. If you haven't listened to the previous parts yet, what are you doing? Go do it right now. See you next week. Bye!